Okay.
Hello, thanks for doing this.
Yep. So 6Q and 12Q. A little bit of a rank up, but still manageable depending on the skill of both. Depends on how active they are and if it's like correspondent 6Q or not correspondent 6Q. Okay, interesting. Pro game so far. Oh, that's ironically, this might be a pro move at post AI, but pre AI, I'm pretty sure this is a horrible mistake. Let's see how this goes. Oh, Black knows it. Oh, Black knows it. Black knows it. Brilliant. I haven't seen this played actually. Usually, okay, so this is a very famous mistake.
I
With
actually
this one.
don't know it. I just was playing by the seat of my pants, but
Oh, you played it perfectly though. Okay, so when there is a stone on the outside, right here, White cannot play this Hane until the AI came out and showed us that we can. The reason is because if Black descends, White has to fix it, and now Black gets to save the stone. Maybe it's here. I'm not sure. But the idea is if White blocks, this cut kills something. A or B will die. There is no way to save both. One of those two stones will die. Because if you save A, you go right here. There is a Tsuji right here. There is no way to save it. Absolutely no way to save it. But if you try to save this one somehow, then this one dies. So if you descend when they have a cutting point, you have a stone, and they cut you, this cut kills something. Large mistake. However, AI came out and said that we can actually get some nice influence for this, and the influence is apparently worth the cash. So that's a thing. But there's no way like at this level they've studied every AI pro variation. So this is a fantastic trap. I love this move. Yeah, very famous move. This move was talked about even like 17 years ago when I was learning. This move was in the pro lectures. So very famous move.
wow.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. I don't. Once White fell for the trap, this is so easy to fall into too. That's what makes it so famous. It's so easy to fall into this move. So everything is reasonable. Definitely good for Black, but I think it's a reasonable mistake. It's just a learning experience. One of those things you have to learn the hard way. Okay, this is a nice big move. Is it the biggest? Yeah, it looks pretty big. Okay, this is good. Okay, so what I do with my students at this point is we're out of the opening because there's something between every opening move, right? So you pick the corner move. Is there something between it? Yes. Pick the corner move. I forget which one it was. Star point. Star point. Star point. Is there something between it? Yes. Star point. 4 points. There's something between it? Yes. Lots of stuff between it. Top. Something between it? Yes. Okay. We're out of the opening. Okay. That's kind of my rule of thumb for the opening. So now in the middle game, what you're going to focus on is these 4 squares for the big move. Except straighter lines. You're going to focus on those 4 squares. Now, you're still going to keep track of your bases and your cutting points, but you want to pick which square do you want to develop, which square do you want to reduce, et cetera, et cetera. So if we pick these 4 squares, we want to say who has the scariest square? Who has the scariest square? A, B, C, or D? Well, first off, C is looking shared, so that's not going to be the most interesting. A looks like it's more in White's favor, but White doesn't have an extension yet. B looks probably in Black's favor for now. Also doesn't have an extension yet. D is looking shared, but this is on the 3rd line, so it's actually quite easy for Black to start building up, and that's because Shamaris are amazing. So if I'm Black, I much prefer building and attacking than I do reducing and defending. So in my mind, I think I would choose B. For D, you probably could look at something like this to build if you really want to. but I want to say B. So you can build this with an extension, an enclosure, a shoulder hit, an extension. I think modern is a lot more, modern style is a lot more sente, so I think shoulder hit is the way I would play this out. And what I'm doing is I'm building influence to get control of this square. And in this square, what the control means, this does not mean cash. Control does not mean cash. Control means in this area, I will make profit. I will make more than white somehow in this area. That is what the control means. All I'm doing is I'm going to make more than white in this square. And so it's kind of what you're aiming for here. So here, if you're looking at A, I think an extension would be better because it looks at some cash while also destroying the framework. If you go right here, though, what if I go for a pincer and I start looking for profit? Maybe something like this. If I start looking for profit, you see how I'm making profit now and you don't have any cash yet. So I look for an attack in this area. I want to attack with the square. Another option is white could trade cash for influence. If you do something simple like that, just throwing stones out there, maybe something like that. you could do some crazy stuff, but you know, these are all ideas to think about. So I wouldn't want my opponent to have ideas. I just want what I want, and you're not going to even have the opportunity to do what you want because you can just control the game. This is nice. It is 2 space high. So first, you want to consider 1 space low. This is the tightest and strongest pincer. However, because they are 2 stones high, you can get surrounded faster. So you go to the 4th line in order to have a nice pincer. Also, 3rd line pincers 4th line, 4th line pincers 3rd line. Additionally, because it is a Novi, these have lots of liberties, so they're a little bit strong. So we actually back off 1 just to give this a little bit more room so we don't get counterattacked so easily. Right, so that's kind of how you end up at this move, is taking that information into account. You get a 2 space high pincer. If you don't know any of that, 1 space low is usually the first one to consider. So this one is a 3 space. It's very far and almost ignorable because you almost already have a single eye, or just by default almost. So you can do this, threaten an eye. You could still run away. You could even 2 space. Single digit Q, we can probably talk about this. So the reason you can 2 space right here is actually because this is a ladder breaker. Fun fact. So if white gets too greedy, let's throw something over here. There's actually a 3/3 invasion. And usually white doesn't want to let you into the corner, right? White wants to attack you, so white will cut. But now there's a ladder breaker. So now white can't play 7 because white gets in a lot of trouble. Okay, so white has to go here, but all of a sudden you steal white's corner, and if you make life, this is now a weak group. So now you can run a lot easier because it's hard to attack with a weak group. So you got to be very careful about this number 4 move. It's very dangerous. So that is why we can go at 2, and typically white will just make sure to be cautious with the ladder or whatever, and they'll be able to still play. But they can make cash, so it's still playable. It's still good for white to attack here. But there's a nice little trap if your opponent doesn't know about the ladder breaker. It's a nice little trick that you can do. Very reading intensive though, so be careful with it. It's a double-edged sword. But that is why we can 2 space here, because the cutting point is just too dangerous for white to try to cut. But otherwise, 1 space jump is solid, safe, easy. Slide connection is usually not good because living on the 2nd line is just not valuable. The difference between this 3 and this one is 3 is threatening to steal a base versus yours is not taking anything because white never had a base. White's on the 4th line and is 1 stone, so white never has a base. So you're not stealing white's base like you are with 3. So because you're not stealing a base, it's not as valuable. So as white, all I'm going to do is just like keep you on the 2nd line. So let's see, I might go here. This is like my first consideration would be how much value can I get out of this? How much value can I get out of this? How much can I make you respawn to me? And then I'll run away. So I go 1 point at a time. So two points at a time for 1 point at a time should be pretty valuable. There is ways that you can think about cutting. 1, 2, 3, for example. It does have its own cutting point, but some boards it is worth it. There's this idea if it works. So there's clamps, attachments. There's this one rarely as well. If the ladder works here, you could also push right here and get a similar idea to the first thing we looked at. So this stone is very not attackable, but bullyable. I can use a lot of stuff against this stone. So I think my natural response would be here. This is probably my simplest immediate response. If I'm playing Blitz in like 2 seconds to move, I think I would try to do this. If you want to try this idea, I think attach and crosscut. This creates a very reading heavy position. So if you're very confident in your reading, which for a 6 rank gap, I would invite reading battles because I should have better reading if it's a 6 rank gap. So crosscuts are reading heavy. So inviting a crosscut when you are the stronger player should be possible. Should be a good strategy. But yeah, kind of one of those dangerous weapons again. Use cautiously. Looks like White's trying to go for a territory game. Something that I tend to notice a lot is players will play star points, but then end up in a territory game where they have territory everywhere. Star points are after the center squares. You don't want the territory. If you got the territory, you need to have gotten something valuable in exchange because normally you don't want the territory. So you need something else somewhere on the board because if you got territory at the start point and your opponent had a 3-4 point and they have the same amount of territory, they're going to have more moves in the center of the board because start point takes more moves than the 3-4 point does to get the same amount of points. So start point's the worst move for the corner territory. So if you're playing star points and you're only getting territory, you're not using the star point's full power. The full power of the star point is after these center squares. It's very, very good at supporting those squares. So here, what we're doing is we're saying, I'm going to take the cash and give you the influence on this board. So the question becomes, is this a good idea? So let's see. There's a weak stone right here. There's a shoulder hit right here. So I want to say this is probably going to be good for black in my mind. So if we play out a simple sequence, try to attack, and then however this fight plays out, let's just throw some stones on. However this fight plays out, and then I shoulder hit, I think I'd be pretty happy with this center. Okay, and I'm not really even reading a perfect sequence. I'm more generalizing. The star point wants this square. I know shoulder hits exist, and I know there's a weak stone over here that I can cap. So just knowing 3 things, and I can make a joseki choice plan. Hopefully that made sense. Okay, this one says I want influence in Gote. I don't know if I'd want that on this board because white has a territory lead. It did 10, 20. Yeah, white should have a territory lead in theory. So if I do this and then I just go in, maybe here or here, maybe here, that's probably the simplest. Is this wall really going to get value on this board? I don't know if this wall will get a lot of value. It'd be difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. Yeah, because typically we would trade cap, something like this, something along those lines. And there is a weak stone right here, but white has 2 entrances. And it's hard to block both of these. I don't know. It's possible, but not my favorite plan. Okay, low is very fine. Do be careful when you don't have this third move. It's okay, but you do have to keep in mind that there is a life and death problem right here that you need to know, which is also known as the J group. Here, here, or large pig. It's also known as the large pig. White is dead if you play this way. Okay, this white group is dead, and that is because of this little magic move right here. Number 13, because you can't connect. Salvatore. So if you want, you can do corner josekis or corner life and death problems, J group specifically on Sensei's library. So as long as you know that 1, 2, and 3 are all Sentei, then you're not going to die, but it also means you got blocked in Sentei, which from our second line basics we know is not recommended. So typically we want to go 3, and then you can go here. But it does give Blackmore influence, so there is that cost, but make sure you don't die. So just keep that in mind. You need to know the life and death problem if you're going to play this way. Okay. This is perfectly fine. I think this one is a little bit more powerful, though. Yeah, or maybe here. I think this one's just a little bit more powerful for the right. Because we're never going to build the bottom right, right? We only want the top right. So let's destroy the bottom right and get more top right. But this isn't bad. This one's also okay. Be careful. I think I would run this way. And then keep the diagonal. This is a scary move. Yeah, I think attach, but this is also expensive. Maybe here we can use our emergency life. So what that is for my mind is I play right here, sacrifice the stone, which gives a lot of cash to black, but black already had cash there with the Shamari. And in exchange for that cash, I get better shape to run away. The idea being I want to be over here. I don't want to be here, and I'll never want to be here because I'm giving up all of the Aji. I'm giving black all of the cash, all so I can live a little bit quicker so I don't have to play here. So this is your like emergency life kind of move, but it is very expensive. It kills all of the Aji in this area. So just keep that in mind. It is an expensive emergency move. Break glass if you need to live. Probably here. I don't know, it's probably not a huge deal. Probably not a huge deal. This is very slow. Your whole focus for the last several moves have been this top right. So keep making the top right. Make that square. Yeah, this is like not even 2 points because of the endgame. So there's 2 points right there, assuming I never actually try to do anything in here. Right, so I don't even know if it's 2 points. So this is very small. Okay. Here's something I'll leave you guys with. Whenever your opponent plays a peep, try ignore it in your head. Try ignoring it in your head. See what happens. Don't actually ignore it on the board if it's bad. Like don't ignore it if it's bad, but consider it. Consider ignoring. Every time there's a peep, you're like, can I ignore this? And if not, consider one more thing before fixing. Can I fix it by using my opponent's cutting points or attachments? Can I attach to something to fix it? Can I peep something to fix it? Can I cut something to fix it? Can I fix it in a way that threatens something else? See if you can fix that cutting point using the local Aji. So if you can ignore it or fix it using the local Aji, then a lot of the times you'll get a free move. So the peep is sometimes an opportunity for a free move if you're taking your time and reading. Most of the time it is Sentei, but if you give yourself the opportunity, sometimes it is Gote. So always pause, always hesitate. I am out of time, and I think that's a good stopping point, so I hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you so much.